Hello, Dan here from Daniel Lee Plastering and Rendering Limited, and I am just wanting to let people know today that I have decided to embark on another exciting fitness challenge. So some of you may know I do enjoy taking on challenges. I do love doing all sorts of different fitness challenges over the years because I believe it truly complements plastering, being physically capable and able, and it's also the way I'm wired. I love to push my body. I love to test my limits, to test the boundaries. We're all capable of so much more than we think we are, and one way I personally like to do this is through physical challenges. So most recently, a couple of years ago, I ran 100 miles continuously the North Downs Way, which was by far the toughest thing I've ever physically done to this point in my life. It's absolutely incredible, amazing. It wasn't without its ups and downs. There was a lot more to that story. It certainly wasn't a picnic. So don't go into that blind, but it is doable. Anyone, I believe, with consistent training and effort and the desire and passion to do it, is probably more crucial than anything, can do these things. It did take 29 hours continuously to get through it, and it was tough, of course it was, and it was very painful, but it was also so satisfying and so rewarding. So anyway, I have not really done much since. I'm focusing a lot on work and pushing the business, and I've got to a point now where I've been training consistently for about 8 years or so, on and off my entire life, and finally let me just get a bit of a boost from having something to train for. I am at the point now where I can exercise and train regularly now. It is habitual, it's become a habit. I do it regularly, but it can become a bit lackluster. So I can find myself turning up at the gym and just going through the motions. So what helps me in those situations is to take on or find a challenge that excites me and that may complement what I'm about. In this instance, I've found a 12-hour continuous Tough Mudder course. It's basically how many 15-kilometre laps of an obstacle race called the Tough Mudder, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of, that you can do in 12 hours. You can do it as a group, where you take it in turns. I'm going to do a solo. I am hoping for support, so I am hoping for family and friends to do the odd lap here and there with me, which will be amazing. My apprentice, Ethan, he's going to hopefully do it with me, which is quite exciting. But what this does, this gives me a little bit of direction and focus in my training, and it's going to allow me a bit more motivation and sort of also guidance, instead of just training for the sake of training. I'm sure we're all guilty of this. We turn up to the gym and we just go through the motions. We've got a set of exercises we do, and we do them, and every so often we might think, oh, let's try a PB, or let's try, but generally speaking, it can get a bit flat, it can be a bit lackluster. So the idea of introducing a challenge. Now, my criteria for this challenge, you can let me know in the comments whether you agree with this or not, is it had to be something I genuinely am not sure I can finish. I've done, so a 10k, for example, I know I could run a 10k any day of the week without any effort. But for some people, they might not know that, in which case a 10k would be a good challenge for them if they genuinely thought they couldn't finish that 10k. And this is where the true growth happens. It's very easy to get comfortable with, so you see these people that do perhaps a lot of Ironman, but they know they can do it. There's no real challenge anymore unless they're doing it to get faster and faster and be quicker and fitter, then that's slightly different. But I'm very, very much amateur level. I'm purely doing it for my own self-growth, looking to be a better person. And for me, the criteria had to be, it had to excite me, also scare me, and it had to be something I genuinely am not sure I can finish. Now, for me personally, the toughest part of this Tough Mudder right now is there's a heck of a lot of cold water exposure. And for 12 hours is a long time to be exposed to so much cold water. So one of the things I will be doing is increasing my time exposing myself to cold. I'm also not currently at a level where I can run and train 12 hours in a row, so that's going to be another challenge as well. And with those things in mind, I'm now going to sort of document my progress as I go through on this journey, where I'm just shifting my training to more 12-hour obstacle course race training specific, as opposed to my general steady state training that I've been doing. I've also been doing since January. I had a minor meniscus tear on some scaffolding, of all things, nothing to do with exercise or running. We all get these little niggles over the time, but it has taken quite a long time to heal. So I've actually spent most of this year rehabilitating my body, like getting my body back into check. And a month or two ago, I finally felt like my body was in tip-top shape, like really, really firing on all cylinders again. And that's given me the confidence to now enter this new challenge. So I will now be keeping you all posted on my progress. I did a little bit of some pull-ups and dead hangs and runs with my apprentice Ethan yesterday. That was quite eye-opening. That's not as easy as I remember as a child. And yeah, so we're gonna see how we get on. So this is the area I did the workout in. I had the lovely self-propelling treadmill there, which is brilliant. It's you literally use your own momentum to self-propel it. It's about 25% harder than a regular treadmill, which I love. And over to the monkey bar rack, or the pull-up rack, as I like to call it. Straight into 10 pull-ups there. At this point, it's not too bad. 10 felt okay at this stage. I've just done 1 kilometre run to get myself warmed up. Not that fast, so I'm not running flat out. I am taking these runs that I'm doing in between are quite sort of zone 3 level, sort of my half marathon pace, I would say. Possibly marathon pace even, probably a bit slower than my half marathon pace. Now I'm practicing some hang tough manoeuvre, so I'm sort of swinging there. This is about halfway through my workout, so I am now genuinely starting to feel it in my grip. This is starting to feel stuff, so once I've failed going across there, I'll now, just to push my muscles that bit more, just do some pull-ups until I drop. In here it's about 5, I believe. And I know I've got a little bit more in me, so a short rest and I can get a couple more out. I know I can. So I do 2 more, and that felt quite tough, so back on the treadmill. So that was quite an epic workout. So I did an hour and a half, and I was using a treadmill. It was the self-propelling treadmill next to a pull-up rack, and I was doing intervals of 500 meters jogging. That's running at an easy effort with sort of obstacle replacement exercises thrown in there. So I would do 10 pull-ups, 20 push-ups, another 500 meter run, then another 10 pull-ups, another 500 meter run. Then I would do monkey bar swings, side monkey bar swings, another 500 meter run. Then I would go back, do 25 kilogram bag shoulder carry. That's a substitute for the log carry. So there's log carries that you have to do, and I'll do 100 meters on one shoulder, 100 meters on the other shoulder, 300-400 meters with it on the back, 100 meters or two carrying it in front of me, because these work different muscles and also simulate different events. Then back to another 500 meters running. You get the idea. Lots of back and forth, and the reason for that is very obvious. I think if you know about anything about these Tough Mudders, it's a 15-kilometer run with 20 obstacles. So that's an obstacle every 800 meters approximately, give or take how they're spaced out. So to train for that, the best way, this is my very first, say, proper training session for this particular event. So I'm sort of mimicking a version of that. I'm not going for the full 800 just yet, but an hour and a half at that is a very good interval training. So when we say interval training is when, or in this instance at least, I'm tailoring my intervals to simulate the race course or the race conditions. You might call it, some people might call it a tempo training session perhaps, but either way, I'm basically trying to mimic the course, and I will do that once a week. I won't be doing it every session. It will probably take, I feel great at the minute actually. My hand's held up really well. As plasterers, especially those of us that have been doing it for a couple of decades, we are gifted with insane calluses on our hands, and they do cross over to pull-ups really well. Don't be fooled, there's still going to be some pain, but compared to someone that perhaps has never picked up a trowel and then starts doing pull-ups, I think we've definitely got an advantage. So that's a positive. I was wearing some very thin CrossFit, I think they're designed for CrossFit gloves. They're basically a thin leather pad that just goes over the top, and that's really good at preventing tearing from when you're swinging on the bars. It doesn't, maybe it does enhance the grip a little, but mostly for me it reduced the pain of the friction of the bar on your hands, so it stopped the skin tearing quite as much, so that was really good. All in all, an incredibly successful first session. I'll keep you posted on the progress. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. I'll happily answer any. If you want any training tips for any particular events you're doing yourself, do feel free. As I mentioned before, I have taken a PT training course a few years ago. So I'm happy to share my knowledge if it can help. So brilliant. Hope you enjoyed it and got a bit of information out, a bit of useful information out of this, and have a great day.